1894 by Percival Lowell through the Alvin Clark and Sons Company in Boston, Massachusetts. Massachusetts. I can't say the word. It's fine. So, he was always kind of a Alvin Clark and Sons person. That was actually his first telescope, his middle telescope, and like his next 3 telescopes in life. So he decided to go with them when he was building his pride and joy. Now, this was finished in 1896, which makes this about 18 years older than the state of Arizona. About. If anyone wants to correct me on the math of that, I'd be willing to take that, because I keep messing up the mental math. So, this is a 32-foot long, 24-inch refracting telescope, which means that up at the tippy top there, we have a lens, in this case it's actually 2, that work in conjunction to funnel light from the universe and the great beyond into the eyepiece down here. This tube is completely extraneous and is just empty space. So really, the important part about a telescope like this is the lenses that were made by the telescope makers. Everything else can be finagled into the end. But this telescope was used by Percival Lowell for the study of Mars. So Percival Lowell was a mathematician by trade, which means that he didn't actually know much about astronomy when he was really founding this observatory, or before he founded it anyway. So he talked to one of his friends, Andrew Douglas, who was a PhD astronomy student at Harvard as Percival was going there. And he pretty much said, "Hey Andrew, teach me everything you know about astronomy, please." And Andrew said, "I have 12 years of experience, don't ask me that. But what we can do is go to every talk on the American East Coast, and anytime an astronomer lands from Europe, or anytime an astronomer talks in general, we will go there, you can learn about whatever junk they're talking about, and then if you have questions, you can ask me questions, and I'll answer them." Which really is one of the most effective ways of learning, is just asking questions when you don't know what is happening. So, if you don't know what is happening at any point in this talk, feel free to ask a question. But Percival and Andrew went all across these talks, learned a whole bunch of stuff, and then one of them caught Percival's attention. And it was a talk by an Italian astronomer by the name of Giovanni Schiaparelli. And if anyone is Italian, feel free to yell at me now, because that was butchering the pronunciation horribly. But Giovanni talked about canali on Mars. And canali roughly translates to channels or canals. Channels are waterways carved by water itself, and this is something that we see on Mars today. Canals imply intelligent design. Carving of the Earth or Mars itself to channel water to benefit a society. Implying Little Green Man. Which one do you think Percival got a hold of? Little Green Man. And actually, we use this telescope to discover life on Mars. In the early 1900s, Percival Lowell used this telescope to gather the research necessary to publish his book, Mars as the Abode of Life, which detailed how Percival was able to discover life on Mars through the observation of these straight lines that cover the entire surface. You can see those here in this exhibit behind you in his personal sketches. There's a whole bunch of straight lines that span from the poles, which could very well have been water ice. If you look at the pictures over there, you can see that Mars has polar ice caps. And those canals spread from the poles to the equator. And in every Martian summer, like clockwork, the planet gets more green. Just like what we see here on Earth. We can actually tell when it's springtime from space, because the planet gets more green. And so this really does show, like, to someone who hasn't been to Mars, that yes, there has to be some form of life on Mars. Now, we know that the polar ice caps of Mars are dry ice, carbon dioxide. You can't drink that, you can't use it to irrigate crops. We know that the canals were actually not there. If you looked at Mars through this telescope, they wouldn't be there. And the best way for us to really hypothesize that Percival saw these was he had glaucoma, which is high blood pressure in your eyes. And after staring at Mars for 8 to 9 hours a night, he could actually start to make out the veins in the back of his eyes over the surface of Mars, which sounds like nightmare fuel to me. That sounds like some Lovecraft stuff, and I ain't into that. That's a lie, I love H.P. Lovecraft. But then the seasonal greening. That one is kind of harder to explain, right? What causes the planet to become green? Because we know that there's not plants there. Well, it's actually because of the dust storms on Mars. And we've all kind of heard about those, right? They're made in the Futurama episode about Mars, and they're in The Martian, that movie/book, right? So these dust storms kick up a bunch of fine particulate. And for whatever reason, and I'm not horribly adept in optics, it makes it slightly green. And this, the best way that I can really piece it together, is the same thing as a mirror tongue. So if you take two mirrors, you're going to put them together so they see each other infinitely, the edges will appear green before they go to black. And that's partly because of the silver being more green, but it's also because of the optical density of what you're looking at. You're essentially looking through infinite material at that point, so it appears more green. That's the best way that I can explain it to myself, and Haley will probably tell me that I'm wrong, because she's into optics, and I chose advanced quantum instead. So, yeah. So that is why the planet appears green. And all those factors really led to the entire American population, and most of the population of the world, up until the Mariner 2 mission in the 60s, believing that there were little green men. It's kind of where the alien craze started, here at the observatory that you are currently at. And if it wasn't good enough that we discovered life here, Mars as the Abode of Life was a very, very well-written book. Percival had 6 other books under his belt by this time, where he essentially broke down complex ideas into a way that everyone can understand, something that I definitely need to work on. So he would break down the idea of astronomy to the average person's level, which is difficult. And people loved that about it. So they would pick up his book. And it's not just people who were into astronomy, it was anyone who could read would read Mars and the Abode of Life, because it's, 1, how to be an astronomer, 2, life on Mars. Neat. So it found its way into the hands of people like Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, H.P. Lovecraft. Dude constantly threw flack at Percival Lowell for being crazy with the idea of little green men, and then he went to the road about Cthulhu. Totally normal. But the most important one is H.G. Wells with War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds is the most popular alien novel in the history of mankind. And really, it's all because of this telescope. And H.G. Wells admitted that. He said in the quotation or the citation page or the dedication page of the book, there we go, to Percival Lowell for giving me the idea of Martians anyway. Because of Mars as the abode of life. So if it wasn't for War of the Worlds, we wouldn't have the pop culture we have today with Doctor Who, or Star Wars, or Star Trek, or Mass Effect, or Halo, or really any of the stuff that y'all are going to go home and watch later, right? Stargate, Atlantis, all that stuff. That's all because of this here telescope, which I think is nifty. So even though The Martians was a miss, Percival Lowell was able to inspire millions, if not tens of millions of young people throughout his entire existence, right? As long as Percival's legacy lives on, he is still inspiring people to become astronomers in a search for the next neatest thing. Speaking of the next neatest thing, and the reason why we have a lot of what we are doing today, this telescope single-handedly beat the Russians in the Cold War. That's a pretty big statement. Let me elaborate. This telescope was decommissioned for research in the 1950s because of Route 66. The light pollution of the headlights messed up all sorts of things on Mars Hill. But it was still very good at looking at planets and the moon, because those are ludicrously bright. And in the 60s, NASA needed a telescope to map the lunar surface, because you can throw as many people as you can possibly muster at the moon, but if they don't come back, then the Russians are still winning, right? It's not winning anything. It's still a space race until someone crosses the finish line, which is in the Apollo capsules here on Earth. And so NASA was looking for telescopes all across America to try to figure out what would be the cheapest way to map the entire lunar surface. We needed hundreds of thousands of man-hours on a telescope like this to map the entire surface. So they needed facilities that would accept them, and really they needed astronomers to help them. So when they were looking, they saw Lowell Observatory was no longer used for research. And no one was petitioning for use of one of the premier planetary telescopes in the United States at the time. And so we were able to actually rent out this telescope for pennies on the thousands of dollars to NASA, saving the American taxpayer probably trillions of dollars on the space race, which already costs trillions of dollars. If it wasn't for this telescope, we probably would have spent a lot more money and possibly depleted the resources that we didn't actually have during the Cold War. So it's kind of a big deal. But to make it even better, Carl Lamplin, an astronomer who was very close friends with Clyde Tombaugh, the man who discovered Pluto, also was furious at NASA. Because astronauts like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins, yeah, they were smart guys. They were top pilots and they knew what they were doing, but they were not at all researchers in the slightest. NASA wanted to send people to the moon and get them back. That's it. Carl Lamplin came over to the director of NASA one day, grabbed him by the ears and said, "You are sending people to a new planetary body, and you aren't planning on taking samples or doing research? What is wrong with you?" And so we ended up training all of the astronauts of the Apollo missions to actually become planetary scientists as well. So we taught them what they needed to look for on Mars or on the moon, what they needed to collect on the moon, all the things that they needed to actually study on the moon. Which makes us a great base for operations of the Apollo mission. So if you go, I think it's like 30 miles north of the mountain, there's a cinder area where we took about 250,000 tons of TNT and put giant craters in the earth so that the astronauts could try practicing Brodies in the lunar rovers. Which I didn't understand. But that's kind of the last thing that this telescope did. That is 5 minutes over my supposedly time. Like I said, I talk a lot, I get excited. But if there's any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, or insults, I will take those now. Otherwise, take pictures of the telescope and then I have to ask you.
Was this a telescope that discovered Pluto?
No, so the Pluto telescope is 300 yards in the